Good to have you with us on the Randy Karraker Show, presented by DraftKings, where the crown is yours. And AEW WrestleDream is in town at Chaifetz Arena. And Tony Khan, the founder and CEO of AEW, kind enough to join us here on STL Sports Central. Tony, good to have you with us.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm excited about AEW WrestleDream, Saturday night fight night this weekend here in St. Louis, and excited to be here talking about AEW and all the great St. Louis sports here with you.
It's really exciting to have you here. And let's start with WrestleDream and the card. Quite a card that you have here in St. Louis.
It is a stacked show. We've got so many of the greatest wrestlers in the world right here in St. Louis. AEW is where the best wrestle, and we've got the very best here in St. Louis. I'm so excited for this show. Last year, we had a big event, AEW Dynasty. It was the first pay-per-view we'd ever done in St. Louis. It was a great event. There were big championship changes, big stakes. Some of the best matches in the history of AEW happened here in St. Louis. And tomorrow in St. Louis, we're going to have even a bigger crowd for AEW WrestleDream. It's going to be a great show. There's still tickets available. They're going fast at the Chaifetz Arena. And if you can't be there live, you can watch it. It's on HBO Max. It's on cable satellite. You can order it on pay-per-view. And you can, for free, at 6 p.m., watch the Tailgate Brawl leading into the pay-per-view. The Tailgate Brawl, we got a free hour on TNT or on HBO Max. And then the pay-per-view event starts at 7. The whole thing starts at 6. The doors open at 4. People are going to start filing into Chaifetz, and you can get your tickets now at AEWTIX, AEWTix.com.
We have a long history, obviously, going all the way back to wrestling at the Chase, right?
Yes.
And a great wrestling history. What makes St. Louis attractive for AEW?
Well, first of all, you hit the nail on the head, Randy, that St. Louis has a great history of pro wrestling here. Wrestling at the Chase, the great Sam Muchnick promoted wrestling here for many years. You can't talk about St. Louis wrestling or, frankly, the history of professional wrestling without talking about the great champion, the late, great Lou Thesz. And Lou Thesz is a great St. Louis wrestler and the legendary champion in wrestling. And actually, the late, great Lou Thesz's wife, Charlie Thesz, is coming to the event.
Awesome.
We understand she'll be coming to the event. We're really honored by that. And I'm really excited to be part now of the tradition of great wrestling here in St. Louis, bringing these major events. We do TV every week. We have Wednesday Night Dynamite, 7 p.m. on TBS. It's been going for 6 years, over 6 years now. We just did our 6-year anniversary show, over 300 episodes, and it is the longest running primetime pro wrestling show in the history of Turner Sports, in the history of Turner, in the history of TBS or TNT, which, again, talk about tradition. That's great tradition in wrestling there at Turner with TBS and TNT having these shows. We do that every Wednesday at 7, and every Saturday at 7, we have AEW Collision. We've done over 100 episodes of that now. And this week it starts an hour early. It's on at 6 on TNT because it's the Tailgate Brawl, and it's a 1-hour live action-packed Collision Tailgate Brawl before the WrestleDream pay-per-view. 150 countries worldwide are going to be showing WrestleDream in the eyes of the wrestling world and fans all over the world, because wrestling and AEW are huge, are going to be watching St. Louis, and you can be there live tomorrow for AEW WrestleDream.
Tony, when you founded AEW, obviously you did it with a purpose. You wanted to be number one. Well, you are number one. You're the preeminent wrestling entity now in the world. How did that happen?
Well, I think that we are a challenger promotion. I mean, we exist in a world where there's been a dominant wrestling promotion in the space for a long time. I appreciate you saying that, because I think that AEW is where the best wrestle and for the best action week in, week out. AEW is where you see the best wrestling. And we founded it trying to bring wrestling back to TBS and TNT. There's been wrestling on TBS since 1971, but it ceased in 2001, and also on TNT since 1995, but it stopped in 2001. We brought it back in 2019, and now for 6 years we've been doing wrestling on TBS and TNT. We'll have the show tomorrow live on TNT, and then worldwide on pay-per-view. It's going to be a great event. And like I said, I was excited to bring it here to St. Louis because AEW is about pro wrestling. It's a great sport, and it's a tribute every week to have the best wrestling, because it's the best sport in the world. It goes 52 weeks a year, and these are the best athletes and the best fans that watch wrestling year round. And St. Louis has the best wrestling tradition, so it's perfect to come here.
And you described your title to me as CEO, founder, and matchmaker.
Yeah.
How do you go about matchmaking?
Well, it's a great question, Randy. I think that for AEW, we've got great wrestlers. And when we have these great rivalries, you want to see the best rivals, intense matches. You can have a sports like competition with the best wrestlers fighting, but a lot of times these turn into big grudge matches, sometimes about championships, about high stakes, but a lot of times there's personal rivalries. It can be over something that happened inside the ring or outside the ring in a variety of ways, sometimes stipulations, whether it's in a steel cage or an I quit match like tomorrow night. One winner of the match will make the other submit. They will have to say I quit, and it's going to be hard to imagine either Jon Moxley or Darby Allin saying I quit.
So it might go a while.
It could be a hard-hitting long match, the I quit match. Absolutely. Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin is going to be phenomenal tomorrow, and there's a lot of great matches, world championship matches like Hangman Page, the champion, versus Samoa Joe, the former champion, who actually last year lost the championship here in St. Louis at AEW Dynasty, has a chance to regain it from the incredible Cowboy Hangman Page. And
awesome.
And the women's world title, Timeless Toni Storm, the former champion, is trying to regain the title, wrestling Kris Statlander, the great young champion. And it's their first ever one-on-one match, and it's here in St. Louis tomorrow at AEW WrestleDream.
All right, we mentioned the wrestling at the Chase, and that was my introduction. The reason that I became a wrestling fan, I would get up on Sunday mornings, watch on Channel 11, Wrestling at the Chase. What was your introduction to wrestling? What sparked your interest?
It's a great question. I used to watch G.I. Joe, and I was a big fan of G.I. Joe when I was a little kid, and when I was like 6, 7 years old. And around that time, Sergeant Slaughter was a character on the show, and Sergeant Slaughter was the host of G.I. Joe, but he was also a cartoon character with a voice actor with Sergeant Slaughter and the character Sergeant Slaughter. And then I found out he's a wrestler, and I started watching wrestling, and I got hooked immediately, and I loved it. And I've been watching it ever since. And, I started when I was 7, and then when I was 8 years old, I got obsessed with wrestling from multiple companies and reading all the magazines, and it just built up. And I've always dreamed of owning and operating a wrestling promotion, and we were able to launch AEW and, like I said, bring wrestling back to TBS and TNT, which is really cool. And to bring wrestling to great cities that have a history here, like St. Louis, maybe the best history in all of pro wrestling, and a city that for many generations has been a destination where people all over the world in wrestling aspire to wrestle in St. Louis. And we're bringing that to St. Louis tomorrow for AEW WrestleDream.
WrestleDream at Chaifetz Arena. Tickets available at AEWTix.com. Okay, I have to ask about the Jaguars, who you're involved with. Your dad is the owner. And an unbelievable St. Louis tie with Mark Lamping being the president. Your general manager, Jimmy Gladstone, went to Vianney here in St. Louis. Your dad almost bought the Rams, right? And almost had them here in St. Louis. And obviously you have some other ties here in St. Louis. I get the feeling that franchise is kind of turned to the corner. How do you feel about it being on the inside?
Very strong about it. We have a great group. As you mentioned, James Gladstone. My father made some really great hires with the new head coach, Liam Cohen, and James Gladstone, a St. Louis native. We have a great group with Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, and Tony Baselli in the front office. Tony Baselli, an NFL Hall of Famer, a Jaguars legend, knows the NFL inside out, and the Jaguars and the community and the team so well. So we have a great thing happening, and it's a young team and a young group and a great organization on the rise. And the Jaguars are having success, which I'm really happy about. And I think my dad's worked really hard to make it happen. So it's an exciting time. And the Jaguars versus Rams at Wembley Stadium, and AEW WrestleDream this weekend.
So yeah, I was going to ask if you get to games after Saturday night events. This is one you probably
I've been at every game this year. This is going to mathematically be very challenging. We're looking at the timing of we'll see how long the I Quit match goes, and how long some of these big matches go. But as the night goes on, but it's going to be hard right now. I've not missed a game all year, and I've only missed a few ever. But occasionally there's been football matches in the Premier League with Fulham, or AEW events that have run up against, but I generally during NFL season run all the AEW events on Saturday, and in the off season of NFL I'll run more Sunday pay-per-views because that's ideal for a lot of reasons and it's a good slot, but also Saturdays work very well, even though there's a lot of things happening for people on Saturdays. I don't want to compete with the NFL during NFL season because nobody but the NFL will win in that scenario, because the NFL is king. And it's great being a part of it. And the Jaguars are having a great season, and hopefully a good weekend with Jaguars versus Rams, and also with AEW WrestleDream here in St. Louis tomorrow.
All right, last thing. Do you ever get an opportunity to decompress? Because you're a very busy man. You're with AEW and WrestleDream at Chaifetz Arena, and then just planning and advancing the cause of AEW. Do you ever get a chance just to relax?
A little, when I sleep, and and when I every once in a while, like, it's a very unique sensation, because I used to be able to do it more often, but every once in a while, if I sit on a couch and turn on a TV to watch anything but football or wrestling, it's pretty amazing. And just really the feeling of even sitting on a couch to consume things and not being in my work chair is nice. But no, I work a lot, and I get to rest when I'm sleeping, which is good. And sometimes less than other times, but this is a busy weekend. And when I do decompress, I get to watch some shows or movies, but that's about it. But most of my time is football and wrestling.
Well, thanks for bringing AEW to town. We're thrilled by it. Good luck to you with WrestleDream and all of AEW, and good luck to the Jaguars too. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. Tony Khan, he is the founder, CEO, and matchmaker of AEW, and he joins us here on the Randy Karraker Show on STL Sports Central. Hey, Missouri, get ready. The wait is almost over. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State, and you can sign up today. New Missouri customers get $300 in bonus bets when DraftKings launches on December 1st. Download the app now and place a $5 bet when DraftKings goes live. And DraftKings Sportsbook will bring everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when DraftKings officially goes live in Missouri, you'll be betting with the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. It's safe, it's secure, and has fast money withdrawals. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code STL Sports to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when DraftKings goes live December 1st in Missouri. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.